cool would it be to take a friend to UFC 300? You guys get to hang out with Jocko and then go hang out with Bo Nickel at his post-fight party. Because Jocko Fuel is giving you a chance to do just that. 2 tickets, airfare, and accommodations paid for. Plus, you'll get a VIP escort from Jocko Fuel to show you around Vegas. All you have to do to enter is go to jockofuel.com, make a purchase, or just click on the link below. Du Plessis versus Adesanya is believed to be the unannounced main event at 3:05, Perth, Australia. Now, like any good rumor, where's that coming from? But it's very hard to keep a secret in our industry. Telephone, telegraph, or telefighter. The word's going to get out. This isn't a rumor coming from within camps. It's just the belief that those two, Izzy, Du Plessis, are going to match up. That's not like a new phenomenon. They were matched up. They were supposed to fight. Tried to get it done for 300. Like, we know all of these things, but there is other options. They were offered that fight for 300, which at least in theory is the biggest mixed martial arts card of all time. And we, the audience, have never clearly been told who flinched. Neither guy called each other out, or the promotion didn't get involved and go, I'd get this done, but he's being reluctant. It was just one of those things. And I bring that to you because while we have that rumor, we also have an announcement of Whittaker versus Chimaev. So Whittaker taking on Chimaev, and us knowing that being said, does strengthen the belief, just by process of elimination, that you're going to do Du Plessis versus Izzy. But it gets interesting, guys. I don't believe there's a scenario where Robert Whittaker is going to be fighting Israel Adesanya again. I just personally do not believe that. Not to mention there was things done or things that weren't done leading into their second fight that I believe is going to make people resistant to go, okay, let's get these guys together to do another night of business. And I know I'm beating around the bush on that, but just stay with me. It would be very uncommon that somebody would get 3 cracks, right? Without a level of controversy. There's examples that you could bring, Volk versus Holloway, but there was a level of controversy. There was a level of discussion of, hey, I'm not sure the judges saw what we saw, right? There was just enough to get that going. So without beating this too hard, I do want to illustrate that I don't believe you're going to find Whittaker versus Izzy against each other again. I couldn't imagine that on an undercard somewhere, even in the future, they get together just to hash out old times, which would mean it has to be top of the bill, main event, which means it has to be for a title. Oh, by the way, neither one of them has the title. History says, if you look at their age, that neither one of them reclaims the title, but we all understand that those are 2 really good talents, and they've broken history before, and they could certainly do it here. And the reason I'm going down that road is I also, and equally, don't believe that you can beat Chimaev and not get a title shot. I don't believe that. So if Whittaker's going to go fight Chimaev and beats him, then he's going for the title. Now, that would be somewhat difficult to do when you understand that the champion, right, if Whittaker becomes the number 1 contender, he beats Chimaev, he's going to fight for the title. He draws into either Du Plessis, where they've already fought, there was no controversy, or he draws into Izzy, where the entire premise of me speaking to you for the last 3 minutes and 39 seconds is around the fact that I don't think he's ever going to get a match with Izzy. So I just find it to be a peculiar situation. Something is going on with Chimaev. The rumors are he cannot travel to the States. That's the rumor. The only problem with me coming out and telling you guys is this rumor existed once before and we all believed it. And I personally was at the PI in Las Vegas standing face to face with Chimaev. While this was going, while all the time, I had just read that day that Chimaev has a travel ban and can't come to the States. His team never denied it. The UFC never confirmed it. I mean, it was just one of these things that was out there, so everybody believed it. There's a rule in politics. If somebody says something against you that's negative and you don't respond, it means it's true. But I was standing there with him. It's the biggest, take out my phone and put it on Instagram, the biggest hit that I have ever had on Instagram. So I'm just not comfortable having that experience, having me. I was the one that broke it. I'm the one that brought that to you guys. Went all around, it made the dirt sheets. I only share that I would feel a little bit weird telling you, yeah, this rumor of this travel ban, and I believe it, but it does appear that something is going on. And if that something is going on, and that is the reluctancy of putting him in a title shot, right? I mean, if you have a world champion in a sport as competitive as this that must be contested around the world, you've got to be able to get to the location. We can all understand that. We can all understand the importance, right, of any job, of being able to get to the job. On the other side, this rumor is not new, and the last fight that Chimaev had was said to be a number one contenders match, and Chimaev won. So it would feel as though Chimaev already qualifies for the title match. Now, this industry changes really fast, right? And I will remind you that was a co-main event spot. So Chimaev is being rewarded. He is being promoted. He will now take over a main event spot, which I believe is his first time ever. Chimaev was booked, this is off the top of my head, but he was booked for a main event opposite Nate Diaz. They ended up having the scale debacle the day before, 178 pounds gets inserted, bring Kevin Holland, but they didn't close out the night. So it is a promotion. He is going forward. And I'm bringing that to you because you still have a problem, or at least a question, like with anybody. Why would he want to do it? Why is he going to fight? It's a really hard thing. You got to find a motivation, and it can be anything, and it can be anywhere. But you would have to wonder that. I mean, that's a really hard night out for both guys. So it would seem that we could speculate that at least a hint of an idea is this is where we're going to find our number one contender. But if there is a problem with giving Chimaev that opportunity because of a potential travel ban, then it wouldn't matter if he won the fight or he didn't win the fight, as far as going on and fighting for the belt would go. And then you look at Whittaker, and I can't think of a scenario where Whittaker and Izzy fight again. Top of the bill, pay-per-view, world championship. Now, I also have a really hard time imagining it's Du Plessis versus Whittaker, though that could be done. And I think that would draw, and I think you'd have a good night of business. I'm purely speaking to, I'm not trying to underhand put somebody down. I'm trying to speak to my guess of the way the minds in the war room operate. And I know there is always a thirst for parity. And there's always a hunger for what's next. Passing opportunities. Many times in this sport, right, we'll see things that are equal. But if things are equal and one guy's already got the nod, it will 99.9% go to the other guy. Or if all things are equal, it will go to the younger guy. And it's just hard as I'm looking at the map, because see, I want both these fights. I don't want anything to interfere with Whittaker taking on Chimaev. That is a match that is so fascinating. I mean, I can only imagine where DraftKings is going to go with that. I'll tell you right now, they're going to favor Chimaev to start. I'm not sure you guys are going to go along with that. I'm not sure that you guys, by the time that fight comes around, aren't going to bring more money in on Whittaker. Like, that is such an awesome match. I am, quite frankly, impressed that Whittaker's taking it. Chimaev, I would expect to take it. Right, that's a young guy. He's an up-and-comer, but Whittaker's already climbed that mountain. Whittaker's done everything you can do in the sport. Toughest tournament in all of sport is the Ultimate Fighter, just for example, but he won that. World Championship, but he won that. Competing at 2 different weight classes and making it to the top, he did that. I mean, there's nothing left knew that Whittaker can do it. It just impresses me. I'm impressed that he would go and take on the guy that nobody else wants to fight. But if you are fighting in a main event, and there's a rumor this information might be out there, I didn't see that's going to be on ABC. It just seems to me that that's going to be a number one contenders match. But if you're looking at what the title match is, or at least what's speculated, which is Du Plessis versus Izzy, I don't think both things can be true. I don't think it can be a number one contenders match and Izzy's fighting Du Plessis. Just by example. So what do? Where is Strickland, by the way? Where is Cannonier, by the way? And Sean is out there and he's active and being busy, and Jared has never quite embraced that. So it's all right. But I'm still looking at the board, and I do come back to the same final analysis, which is it appears at 185 pounds, there's not a fresh assertion. There's not new blood. And I know that that's coveted, and I know that that's wanted. I think that opens opportunities for names like, say, Bo Nickel, just by example. But it's going to be very hard for me to believe. We're going to have to see, right? Time will tell, but it's hard for me to imagine that we have a number one contenders match in Whittaker versus Chimaev. If Chimaev, in fact, is being held back because of travel, and I don't believe that Whittaker is going to fight Izzy a third time. I don't know that I believe he's going to fight Du Plessis a second time. So somewhere down the road, we can deal with it now or we can deal with it later, but we appear to have a conflict.